Hi, my name is Dan Zeilinger, and I have been a world-traveling full-time trad jazz musician for the past 40 years. Some of my most memorable performances were on the lawn of the Edinburgh Castle, at Imperial Palace in Japan, as well as TV shows and commercials across the world. I've met many people during my career and have spent many hours on stage and off with these musicians, talking about jazz, life, and more. Some are touring musicians, some are theme park warriors, and some are casual musicians who play on the weekends with friends. I think they all have stories worthy of a movie script, and through these interviews, I'll be sharing them with you. Hi there, this is Dan Zeilinger with Trad Jazz Today. And my guest today is one of the up-and-coming jazz musicians in Southern California, a great guitarist, serious banjo player, and I'm sure he has a couple other tricks under his sleeve I don't know about, and that's Mr. Zane Johnson. Hi, Zane.
Hey, how's it going?
No, it's actually going great. This the whole idea behind this channel is just to have conversations, with people who play the style, and just make it like a hangout over the table at Curly's type of thing. Just talk about stuff. No hard question answers. I'm not trying to be a diehard trad person or anything, as you know.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit. You were born in Seal Beach.
I was actually born in Long Beach, but I've been living in Seal Beach pretty much my whole life.
Oh, I was just wondering. Okay, did you go to McGaw Junior High?
No, I did Weaver Elementary to Oak Middle School to Los Alamitos High School.
Okay, so I was just wondering because McGaw is where Chuck Wackerman used to teach. Chad Wackerman's dad, who's a famous drummer, and then he had Los Alamitos, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Was he still doing jazz when you went to Los Alamitos?
No, it was John Rush, and Chuck at the time was at McAuliffe Middle School.
Okay.
And he recently retired, I think, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, what a family.
Yeah, seriously. His granddaughter was just on American Idol there.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. That's right. I heard that. Wow. Yeah, too bad Chad didn't have any talent. I am kidding, of course. He was, for those of you who don't know, he was, among other things, Frank Zappa's drummer and #1 studio call. But let's get back to you, because that's kind of the idea of the call here. So in high school, were you involved in the music programs?
Only my last year. I was kind of a late bloomer with music. So I did jazz band and AP music theory my senior year of high school. But before that, it was just kind of me playing, I started taking ukulele lessons my freshman year of high school.
Were your parents musical?
My mom casually plays the piano. My grandma was a music teacher for a little bit back in the day, but that's really about it.
Oh, we've talked about this before. In fact, I've talked about with your parents, that's so unusual to have such incredibly supportive parents when they really weren't in the business.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate to have them.
Yeah, you hear that, Mom? If you guys are watching this, that he appreciates it. Well, coolness. Now, when did you start playing ukulele your freshman year? Was that just on your own? You decided to pick one up and teach it to yourself, or?
Yeah, well, I had one since first grade, so I kind of picked it up here and there, around first grade. I knew maybe 3 or 4 chords and a couple songs. I kind of put it away and didn't touch it or think about it until my freshman year. I had a friend that was learning guitar, and he was playing just like little things, like TV theme songs or whatnot, or just like simple songs. And I just remember thinking, oh, that looks kind of fun. Maybe I can do that. And so I picked up my ukulele, and the rest was history. The next year I picked up, I took ukulele lessons for a year. My sophomore year, I discovered the banjo, the 4-string banjo. So that's where I started to do tenor banjo.
Interesting. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
I'm having some technical difficulties.
Oh.
There we go. That's bizarre. Well, as you know, ukulele was incredibly popular in the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the Hawaiian singer who did Somewhere Over the Rainbow,
Yeah.
It became a really big hit again here just recently, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so ukulele had a big resurgence lately, which I thought was interesting. And
Definitely.
and then of course banjo became more popular with the advent of Bela Fleck and Steve Martin playing their five strings. And
Mhm.
it's nice because for the longest time it was not a respectable instrument
Right.
as far as the mainstream media is concerned.
Yeah, and I was kind of the odd man out, especially being in high school playing the 4-string banjo, let alone the 5-string. So I was definitely, to my knowledge, the only person there that did that.
I've always had a lot of respect for the fact that you sought after teachers to help
Yeah.
you with all of your instruments. Um, in this day and age, a lot of people think they can get that information off of YouTube
Hmm.
and don't trust live teachers for some reason, which of course annoys me.
Right. Yeah.
But who are some of the people that you've actually taken lessons from now?
So on ukulele, I took from two people. My first teacher was this guy, Pat Enos. He lives in Huntington Beach. He's a great ukulele player, very knowledgeable about Hawaiian music and the ukulele in general. And then he actually lived with Bill Tapia, who was a ukulele Hawaiian legend. He was he lived to 103, so I was taking lessons from him. And he was a pioneer. He was like a pioneer in Hawaiian jazz, and he played he played ukulele for soldiers in World War One, and he played banjo in the 20s. He played guitar in swing bands in the 30s, and he played with like Louis Armstrong, Ben Goodman. It was a lot of big names.
Now, how did you find those guys?
I actually went to a music store called Island Bazaar in Huntington Beach. It's like a ukulele store, and she gave me the number to Pat, and that's how I got started with them.
That's
And then for
wonderful.
banjo, yeah, for banjo, I took lessons for a while from Doug Maddox, who I'm sure we all know on here.
Well, if you're watching the show and don't know Doug Maddox, I'm surprised you're watching the show. But yeah,
Yeah,
Doug's a lot of fun, and he has that southern way about him that's just kind of laid back. And
yeah, and he was great. I mean, because there were, especially, back, I feel like now there's some more stuff on YouTube, but back like 10 years ago when I was like digging into it, there was nothing, no resources for plectrum banjo or tenor banjo. And I had like a couple of books that didn't have much information in them. And so Doug really helped like with some technique stuff and
did you
just like
start
some
on plectrum or
musicality
tenor?
stuff that I started on. I think I started on plectrum. I was kind of dabbling in both at the same time, but eventually I kind of settled on plectrum. Although I still do mess around on tenor from time to time. And then on the guitar, I've had a ton of teachers. So I mean,
No, I'll
but
name
they've
a
all
few. Let's give him a
yeah.
plug.
Well, Will Braum was a big one for me. He's with Gordon Gilman's Big Fat Band. He's with Arturo Sandoval right now. He's a great guy. He's amazing, incredible player, and he was a great teacher. And I took from Mike Higgins at Cal State Long Beach.
Sure.
Yeah, great guy. He plays the banjo as well. I took from Joe Jewell and Mike Scott at Fullerton City College, both incredible guys. And currently for my master's, I'm taking lessons from Ron Eshte, who's a master of the 7-string guitar, disciple of George Van Ups. And he's a master of harmony. I'm learning so much from that guy, and it's really cool.
Well, you've got the right people going through your veins here.
Definitely.
You have a particular era of jazz that you gravitate towards more so than another, or you just trying to embrace all of it at once?
I like to embrace all of it at once, but I have a soft spot for like 20s through 50s stuff. So the trad stuff, I like the West Coast sound, I like early bop, I like swing, you know, players like Louis Armstrong, Oscar Peterson, Jim Hall, Eddie Lang, Charlie Christian, all those guys.
Have you ever ventured into more modern styles?
Yeah,
I'm not talking about jazz necessarily. For example, I played electric bass in a surf band for a while.
yeah. Most of my career and just studies have been through jazz, but I did for a long time. I did a lot of musical theater work in pits, and I've had to do everything in there.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
not claiming I did it well, but I did do it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's actually a big advantage, as you know, to have banjo under your fingers as well as you do, because a lot of people resort to hiring guitar players with a dobro, or trying to mock up with a six string banjo guitar tuned, and it
Right.
really isn't the same.
It's not. Yeah, I know a lot of people that do that, and it's fine. It works, but I don't know. I've always been like very detail oriented, and I like playing. I like to be authentic, in what I'm playing, and so I think like standard tuned four string banjo has always, I guess, interested me more than like Chicago tuned banjo.
A funny thing, as I was researching you, is it scary to know that I was researching you?
All good.
Um, is that of your teachers, let's see, Jeff Jarvis
Yeah,
and Bruce Babbitt and Ron Estate, all three of them claims to have played with Dizzy Gillespie,
really. Yeah. Um,
which I
Ron,
thought was a kind of interesting connection.
yeah, Ron has a picture with Dizzy in his house. Yeah, Jeff and Bruce. I don't know too much about their backstory, but I know they've played with him too.
I just thought it was because as I researched you and I saw who your teachers were, I did a little background on the ones I didn't know, and I just thought that was kind of a funny connection that all three of your teachers have Dizzy in their background.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
yeah.
So are you headed, do you think, primarily for studio work as a career, or do you enjoy live performing too much, or musical theater? What?
I like live performing most for sure. Studio work, I mean, would be fun. I don't know if I'm versatile enough for that, but um, I've done some recordings here and there for things. I,
If you bring enough guitars to the gig, they'll think you're good. So yeah.
yeah, but I mostly enjoy live performance. That's where I put most of my effort into, whether it be on the guitar or the banjo or the ukulele or the mandolin. Um,
Have you started developing a fan base that follows you from venue to venue if you're doing spaghettinis or something?
uh, Not too much. My trio was starting to do pretty well, but unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we lost all of our work, so we're kind of just
Well, we all have, yeah.
yeah. So we had a regular gig with my trio for a while at a restaurant in Glendale, and there were some people coming back to see us from time to time. But outside of that, I don't really give myself too much of a presence, whether it be on social media or whatever. So I mostly put effort into, like, I'd say, advertising my trio. So I guess we had some.
Well, the stuff you put out online for your trio is really quite remarkable, and I would encourage you to pursue that some more.
Thank.
Just oh, sure, absolutely, and make sure they need to get an album put
I'd
out. So
like to eventually.
well, the sooner you get the exposure and you have a way for people to hear your music when they want to, the better,
Hmm.
and that includes clients, of course.
Yeah.
You can say, we'd like to get a job here. Here's my CD, or you go to this website. It works, and I'm sure that your videos serve that purpose too. For now,
Definitely.
um, let me get down to my questionnaire I've been running past people,
Okay.
and the first question is: when was the first time you played jazz?
First time I played jazz, it was some point. I think it was probably some point when I was taking lessons from Bill Tapia, because he literally lived through the evolution of jazz, so that was his realm of playing, was that music. And the music he gave me to learn was usually stuff written in like the 30s or the 40s. So that was kind of my first exposure. I had also, just for fun, learned some rags on ukulele. I thought that was pretty fun. So I think
I was going to say, you still practice ukulele?
I took a break for a long time. I'm starting to get back more into it though.
One of the things with the people that I interview that's ongoing is the fact that quite often now, because banjo is becoming more accepting, that a lot of the guitar players completely dump their banjo for a certain amount of time,
Right.
and then as they rediscover it again and find the joy in it. And you strike me as somebody who's going to try to keep all your axes together.
Definitely.
And ukulele is kind of its own thing, you know.
Hmm.
I would love to hear some of the rags you do. That would be great. You ought to try including that on some of your, at least to put it up so you have you can say I don't only play jazz guitar with a trio. I don't only play Dixieland
Right.
banjo.
Right.
You know, here's some other things. And what you play any keyboards? You play anything else other than those instruments?
I'm mostly strings. I have a mandolin that I'm toying around with, and I'm trying to get that more up to speed too. But I've always been a like a plucked strings guy.
Okay. So your mandolin that you got, is it just a kick crown horn, or is it as good as your other instruments?
It's a pretty nice mandolin. It's like probably a mid-range one. I had to use it this past spring. I play in my old high school show choir band.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a nationally known show choir program, so we do a lot of competitions. We go on a tour every year, and I was supposed to use it for one of the sets for I think it was the top choir, but I didn't really get to use it too much because of the shutdown. So now
That's
I have it, but I'm trying to. It's very similar to tenor banjo, the tuning wise. So it's not a big learning curve.
okay. Except for the bottom strings an octave up, right?
Yeah. So tenor banjo has viola tuning and mandolin has violin tuning. So it's just transposing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that was violin tuning on the mandolin.
Yeah. Same octave and everything.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Look at here I am at 65 years old and I'm learning stuff from you. What can I say? That's good. Um, who would you say, or when you if somebody held a gun to your head, I'm
Okay.
kidding, and said you could only listen to one jazz recording, what would it be?
I was reading this question yesterday and was thinking about it.
It's a hard
Uh,
one.
it's a hard one. I don't know if I can answer that, to be honest. There's so many I love. I mean, I have a soft spot for West End blues and for Louis Armstrong's version of Stardust, but there's also some recordings by the Oscar Peterson trio that I really really love, and
I
Nat
agree.
Cole. I
Nat
love
Cole
Nat
Trio,
Cole.
yes.
Yeah, so it's Wes Montgomery. I don't know. I'd probably just have to close my eyes and pick one of them.
Well, you're talking to the right guy when you say you
Just
like
point
Louis
at one of
Armstrong,
them.
of course.
Yeah.
But everybody you just named are people that I have in my regular kind of playlist in my
Yeah.
head. Those a lot of people don't appreciate what a great piano player Nat Cole was.
He was incredible. He had a lot of instrumental recordings as a sideman under different. He had something with Lester Young, and they put a different name under his name because he was recording under his own group.
I don't know if you
But
know
yeah.
this, and I think it was either 1959 or 1960. Downbeat rated him the country's number one piano player, and number two vocalist. Isn't that funny?
Wow. Yeah.
It was on one of those 2 years.
Wow.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So, of the current people that are out there, who do you like to listen to?
Current people. Um, I think for trad jazz, I mean, Tuba Skinny is definitely the go-to band nowadays. It seems like for everybody.
Well,
I
they just
really,
have such a presence.
yeah. I mean, they're a great band, great players. They make really good music.
Well, they're really serious. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know this about them, but they're actually dead serious about researching and getting things right, um, which
Hmm.
is, of course, very impressive.
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
they're just not a casual street band, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Right. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff on YouTube channels. I think like I'm sure you've seen stuff from Swing You Cats or SF Rayanne. Like they always put up tons of good trad jazz stuff. And in terms of like guitar players, there's some modern jazz guys like Kurt Rosenwinkel, Lage Lund, Gilad Hexelman, like all these great modern jazz guitar players that just are kind of moving the instrument forward today that I really enjoy too. And of course, there's guys like Peter Bernstein on the guitar that I really love, who's kind of more into, traditional blue note straight ahead sound, who really yeah, just plays the guitar so beautifully and well. And of course, banjo players like Doug Maddox, Brad Roth, John Reynolds, Lee Floyd. I mean, all those guys are so good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I have to agree. Obviously, I know we've talked about it. For those of you who also don't know, Zane is one of the banjo players who does the Friday's Curly's Cafe gig in that I play all the time, uh, and so we have a lot of chance to talk, is what I'm trying to tell the people that are listening. And I give them a
Oh
little bit too
yes.
much guidance at times, but you're worrying about these kids, so. Uh, and Tom Liston, of course, you've talked to.
Oh yeah, Tom Liston too. Yeah, he's good, great guy, great player. He's thrown me some work, and I've asked him, and he's just
You're breaking up just a little bit. Am I breaking up too?
oh no, you're good right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's not so much your voice as your image is freezing quite a bit on this end. To make sure your phone's away from your
Okay.
computer and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. Okay, I didn't realize. See, because my son does do all the contacts. There are some people he sent the questions to, and some people he didn't.
Ah.
So I didn't realize you had been looking at the stuff and you actually prepared. That's no fair. Um, okay, let's see. So now, who have you, trad wise? Who you got? I know you played with the Dixie Deluxe,
Yeah.
and of course us, the Cherry Willow Band at Curly's. And what other
Mhm.
bands have you stumbled into?
I've done Conrad Kamin's band a couple times, the Big Butter Jazz Band.
Good band.
Yeah, I've done Phil Andreen's band.
I love Phil.
The
He's a good guy.
yeah. Uh, there's a band that plays at Joe's in Burbank on Thursdays. I don't know the name of the band, but I played with them. I've done like one-off stuff just with random thrown together bands. I've done like
Sure.
duo stuff.
Have you done that? Have you done a gig with Sylvia Rodriguez yet?
Yeah, I've played a lot with her and Hugh Von Kleist with
Yeah,
their
that's
group.
fun.
Yeah, that's a fun gig. Uh, I think a few other bands too. I don't know. There's been a lot.
Well, you got to write these things down so they can end up on your resume and you look
Yeah,
filled out.
yeah.
No, let's see. So this is a little not. I guess it's a little self-serving, but but has your has your time at Curly's helped progress what you do?
Definitely. I mean, you guys were kind of the first people to like bring me in and let me play back in high school. And then, I was kind of MIA for a bit because I was in college, and I came back after a couple of years. And
How did you find us
yeah,
in the first place?
I good question. My mom at the time, like somehow found you guys, and she told me about it and took me, and CJ let me come in and play one time.
I remember you guys. I remember you coming in those early days,
Yeah.
and so I thought that was actually awful cool. But I mean, we have people like Steve Osario that comes through, who's a young trombone player, and usually it's parents that are dragging their kids kicking and screaming to hear a trad band.
Yeah.
And one thing I have to say about the Cherry Willow Band is they're very accommodating when it comes to helping new talent along.
Definitely. Yeah, that's something I've always appreciated. And yeah, I mean, after I came back after my brief hiatus there, you guys gave me advice just to be style or the banjo. I think it's been paying off because people seem to like me for the most part.
Well, you do. I know I do, but I also at times feel sorry for you because you've got Mike Olson who plays banjo, and you've got Robbie Rhodes who plays banjo, and you've got all these guys, Larry Wright who plays banjo,
Right.
and you've got all these guys that you've got to sit in the middle, and I know they've been helpful, but they also can get a bit annoying at times. Then you've got me behind you, who claims to know more about banjo than he should. And
Well, that's okay. I'll take all the advice I can get.
well, it's good. It's good that you're patient. Because
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been in a band with so many people who think they can play banjo. but they all do, you know.
Yeah.
So that's always interesting. So tell me about your experiences with Conrad's band. Has it? I've done a few things with Big Butter.
Yeah. Well, I've only played with them a couple times, and that was about a year ago, maybe. And I mean, they're all like really great players. You know, Barbara plays trumpet, really
Yeah,
strong trumpet.
phenomenal
Corey
actually.
does, yeah, yeah. Corey Jem does. I think he does reeds in that band. He might play trombone also.
He's okay.
Yeah, and I mean Conrad's obviously great. I forget who was playing drums at the time, and I think I also forget who was playing bass, but they were good too. You know, everyone in that band was great. It's just a good sounding band, solid.
It's funny. I first met Conrad because he used to come to the jazz clubs with a washboard,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize he played anything else. To be honest with you, at
Oh,
very
really?
first.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a Conrad came in as who we're talking about. If you need to look up some of these bands, by the way, for you younger players, and when we start throwing names around like this, it's a good idea to check them out. You know. It drives me crazy, and I know we've talked about this too. Uh, just to be an old guy, back in the day before YouTube and internet and all this stuff. I mean, we were really scrounging. The guys I came up with, of course, we were playing 78s and trying to make out what people were doing.
Yeah.
And you have access to, not you in particular, but
Right.
you as listeners have access to everything in the world now. And my students, you know, I teach at the high school level still.
Hmm.
And my students, it's like pulling teeth to get them to watch something on YouTube that you recommend. It's just crazy at times. Anyway,
I know. You
I'm
know.
just an old
Yeah.
man complaining, you know. Well, listen, this has been great. I'm going to try and get some more people your age to come on and do this, and
Yeah.
not only for the idiom, but to help promote your career. I mean, there are people out there that don't realize we have a young, talented banjo player in the Orange County area that's available for hire,
Yeah.
and knows a lot of tunes. And so keep Zane Johnson in mind, all you guys out there. And I hope you enjoyed our time together.
Please do. This has been great. Yeah. Thank you for inviting me on.
Before I end, let's talk a little bit about the members of your band. I want to give them some cred.
Yeah. So my trio is kind of it's kind of like a tribute to like the Nat King Cole trio, the Oscar Peterson trio, like John Pizzarelli's trio. You know, it's guitar, piano, and bass. So it's a drummerless trio, and we do songs from 20s through 60s normally. And yeah, I went to Cal State Long Beach with all of them, and they're all great guys, great play. Painful though.
Yeah, I like them very much as far as how they
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell that they're not old men. I don't know how
Definitely.
else to say that. But your bass player has got some great ideas and has a
Oh
really
yeah.
great time.
Yeah. We all have good chemistry playing together. But you know, Alex is a crazy, crazy piano player, can play any style of music at an incredibly high level. And you know, Evan Tom, my bass player, he's also just a crazy musician. Plays bass, guitar, ukulele, lap steel guitar. I think plays trumpet also, and he sings. And he also sings in Hawaiian too. We've done Hawaiian gigs
Oh,
together.
wonderful.
Yeah, so he kind of was raised playing Hawaiian music as well. So that's pretty cool as well. So we kind of also double as a Hawaiian band as well as a jazz trio.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I've just recently made an acquaintance with a Hawaiian tuba player, if you need one. No,
Oh no way.
it is actually true, yes.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that's rather bizarre myself. Coolness. Well, listen, I'm gonna start saying off here. I really enjoy it,
Okay.
and I'm gonna take now to tell you that I had two other interviews today before yours, and they were
Hmm.
Brad Roth and Howard Alden.
Oh shit, no way.
So I didn't want to tell you before your interview,
Okay.
but I think those are two that you'll enjoy. They'll be up in a week or so.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing those.
Well, yours has been quite informative and a lot of fun. So you take care of that. I hope to see you again soon, and we get a chance to play some more.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully we'll be back to it soon.
All right, Zane, you take care now.
You too, Dan.
Thank you all for watching Trad Jazz Today with Dan Zeilinger. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Videos come out every Wednesday and Friday.